that's on the smaller side. It is a side dish. It's not really like a full meal. We're just gonna make like this Parmesan balsamic glaze broccoli. Look, I saw the recipe on the internet and I wanted to try it, and I wanted to see if it would make broccoli taste better, because like I like roasted broccoli, like oven broccoli, versus like boiled broccoli or putting it in a pan. Probably the best, and this recipe does that and enhances it, so I thought maybe it could help me eat other things than just like broccoli, because like I probably don't get enough oils, like of the correct oils, and I probably definitely don't get enough cheese in correct amounts. Now, I probably get enough cheese when I eat meals with cheese in them, but like not on days that I don't eat cheese heavy meals. So I figured this would be like a good in-between situation. I'm trying to like routine my life and find new little holdover snacks and side dishes and things that can just like fill me up versus like constantly eating bread, chocolate, and little things here and there that aren't really the best nutrients. So let's get started with the broccoli. It's not the most complex dish, but I've decided we're making our own balsamic glaze from scratch. We're making the broccoli as much as we can from scratch recipe-wise. The only thing like I'm not making is like I'm not drying out chili peppers and like using that as the flakes. I just bought chili pepper flakes, and I bought cheese. Like I don't have a farm, so all that stuff handled. But let's handle what we can. Let's start with the ingredients. First up, we have about 2 pounds of broccoli. I did want less. They didn't have less in stock. More was cheaper. Next, we have lemon juice, which will also be mixed with olive oil and salt for prepping the broccoli. Then we have balsamic vinegar for the balsamic glaze, along with brown sugar to mix with the vinegar to make the glaze. Then we have Parmesan cheese. I felt like why not be fancy and grate it on top instead of getting a shaker, because that's what the picture looked like, so fancy it be. And lastly, we have pepper flakes. I love these. The rest of my family doesn't, so we're gonna put it on a topping instead of cook the broccoli with it on. So sadness. To start making the broccoli, we're going to start with preheating the oven to 400 degrees. And then to prep the broccoli before we put it on the pan, we're going to add some olive oil, mix that in. And then we add some lemon juice. It did call for lemon zest. I didn't want to buy a whole lemon just to zest it, so we're just going to use lemon juice and hope it works. Maybe, just maybe, use a larger container to mix. Then you put it on the pan, and you spread it out so it gets, evenly cooked. One thing I would suggest is to make sure your broccoli is fully drained. I don't think I did that. I think there's probably a little water in this broccoli than there should be. But hey, trial and error. And then you put some salt on it, because it's broccoli and it needs salt. Then it goes into the oven and we cook it for about 15 or so minutes. But while that cooks, why don't we start the balsamic glaze? Starting the balsamic glaze is pretty easy. You start by putting the pot on a medium heat, and then you add the 2 cups of vinegar, and the 1 cup of brown sugar, and you mix it together, and then you kind of let it heat up with mixing every couple minutes to make sure nothing's kind of sticking, nothing's going to get burnt, to make sure that the liquid is evenly distributed. throughout the pot and heat it up. I don't know. It's magic. It's not magic, it's cooking. So we let that heat up, and then once it starts boiling, like a low boil, it should start thickening, and that's what we're really looking for. Once you have this low simmer, low boil situation, first and foremost, you want to check your heat. If you have it a little higher than a mid-low heat, you might want to adjust, because then it may boil too aggressively, too quickly, or too much. You want to keep it at a low simmer, low boil, so it just slowly cooks off. And that's what we're going to let it do. We're going to let it cook off with stirring it occasionally so it doesn't, sit in one place constantly, and just keep letting it boil and repeat the situation of stirring and letting it sit and boil and stirring and letting it sit and boil until it's thickened. I'm going to let that continue boiling now because the broccoli is done. The first step with continuing the broccoli is taking the broccoli after it's cooked for that 15 or so minutes out of the oven. And then you're going to put it somewhere that you can put a hot pan on, so that way we can put the toppings on. Then we're going to move the broccoli around just so that it doesn't cook on the same side or in the same position. Then we're going to take a grater and the Parmesan cheese block and just start grating the heck out of this cheese. I like cheese, so I am holding back, and it is the hardest thing for me to hold back, but we have to do it for our health. Once you're done adding your amount of cheese, it's time to go back in the oven. Don't drop your oven mitt, don't burn yourself, be careful. Then we're going to let that cook for about 10 or so minutes. While it cooks though, why don't we check on the balsamic glaze? Now that the balsamic has kind of cooked a little bit off, we're going to keep doing the same process of mixing it and checking it. We're really looking for the balsamic glaze to stick to the spoon. It's kind of like the tell-all that it's thick enough, and then when you cool it down, it will, obviously be a little thicker than it was. We're going to keep cooking that until we get that appearance on the wooden spoon, and then our glaze will be done. Before we can finish this dish and put all the ingredients together, we need to pull the broccoli with the toppings out of the oven. Then when you're ready, you're going to scoop all the broccoli up and put it in a container. Obviously, my broccoli ended up getting stuck to some of the wax paper, so we struggled. And by struggled, I mean I struggled for a bit, but we got through it, and our broccoli got into its container eventually. And then to make a personal plate, what I'm going to do is put the broccoli down, drizzle it with balsamic glaze, and because the recipe called for way more balsamic glaze than I feel like is necessary for this amount of broccoli, I'm going to put a little bit on. I also am pretty proud that I made balsamic glaze, so we're going to try the heck out of it. And then put the pepper flakes on top. Again, I would have totally cooked these on, but my family doesn't like pepper flakes as much as I. And then we're going to mix it, not only because of the toppings on top, but because of the balsamic glaze. I want to make sure that each piece of broccoli has a bit of it on. Now that it's ready, let's try it. Okay, y'all, so we are all done with the broccoli. We have made the dish. I've mixed it up a little more so I can get the vinegar mostly off my fork. And we're going to give it just like a try. There's pepper flakes in here, so there should be spice. It should be whatever vinegar is. Is that tangy? I just don't know if I really like the taste of vinegar. I find it nasty. But I like balsamic glaze. But that's because it's probably the brown sugar. Either way, let's just eat it. It's not bad. It tastes like the Brussels sprouts my mom makes at her job. They're like these, or they used to make. They're like these honey Brussels sprouts. Not bad. I would say I might add more pepper flake, but I think I added a lot. I just think it's on other broccoli. Yeah, there it is. Now, do I think there's anything we could change? I might add a little more spice. I might actually get a lemon because the recipe called for a lemon, and I did lemon juice instead. So I might do actual lemon zest instead because I think that would be smart. And yeah, no, I think I like it. I think it's a good little side dish. I don't think it's supposed to be anything spectacular. Maybe a little more cheese because you can barely even see it. But at the same time, I'm supposed to be watching my cheese, so I'm doing right by myself. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching me make this little side dish. I definitely think we'll be doing more side dishes in the future. So I think broccoli was a great intro. We'll see where we go through the side dishes. I definitely need to keep it natural, so we'll probably be seeing a lot of me trying to do vegetables because I don't eat as many vegetables as I should, but we're trying to get there. Either way, I hope you enjoyed it. Have an amazing day. Stay beautiful. Stay positive. Bye!
It's Shauna.